In the ancient lands of India, around the year 512 BCE, a prince was born in the mighty kingdom of Magadha. His name was Ajatashatru, but his story isn't a simple tale of royal succession. It's a gripping saga of ambition, conflict, and a desperate search for peace. Imagine a kingdom at the crossroads of history, a father who was a devout follower of the Buddha, and a son consumed by a burning desire for power. This is the story of how a prince, guided by a rival monk's whispers, committed a sin that would haunt him for the rest of his life. How did he imprison his own father, King Bimbisara, the man who had laid the foundations of their great empire? And what happened when the weight of his actions became too much to bear? The story begins with a prophecy, a prediction that this prince would one day be the cause of his father's death. Fearing this dark future, King Bimbisara tried to have the infant prince killed, but his mother, Queen Salana, saved him. The young Ajatashatru grew up with this shadow hanging over him. He was a capable and ambitious prince, but he was also impatient. He fell under the influence of Devadatta, the Buddha's own cousin, who had become his bitter rival. Devadatta saw in Ajatashatru a powerful ally to help him usurp the Buddha's leadership. He planted seeds of doubt and ambition in the prince's mind, convincing him that his father, King Bimbisara, was an obstacle to his destiny. Poisoned by these words, Ajatashatru made a fateful decision. Around 493 BCE, he staged a coup. He arrested his father and threw him into a dark prison, seizing the throne of Magadha for himself. The once mighty King Bimbisara was left to languish in a cell. Initially, Ajatashatru allowed his mother, Queen Kausala-Devi, to visit the old king. She would bathe, apply sandalwood paste, and bring food for him. Bimbisara found solace in his faith, gazing at Vulture's Peak, where the Buddha often resided, and finding peace in meditation. When Ajatashatru discovered his father was still finding comfort, he forbade his mother's visits. Yet, the queen cleverly hid food in her hair and her golden slippers to keep her husband alive. In a final, cruel act, Ajatashatru stopped her visits altogether. But Bimbisara, a man of incredible spirit, survived by pacing his cell, his meditation giving him strength. Enraged that his father still lived, Ajatashatru ordered barbers to go into the cell and slice open the soles of the old king's feet. They filled the wounds with salt and vinegar and then forced him to walk over burning coals. Unable to bear the torture, the noble King Bimbisara finally passed away. The tragic irony is that just as his father died, Ajatashatru received news that his own son Udayabhadra had been born. At that moment, holding his own child, a powerful wave of paternal love washed over him. For the first time, he understood the love his own father must have felt for him. He rushed to the prison to release Bimbisara, but it was too late. The weight of his patricide crashed down upon him. His mother, heartbroken by her husband's death, also passed away soon after. The consequences of his actions rippled outwards. His mother's death enraged her brother, King Pasenadi of the neighboring kingdom of Kausala. As part of the queen's wedding dowry, the village of Kashi had been given to Magadha for her bath and perfume money. With his sister gone, King Pasenadi took Kashi back, sparking a fierce war between the two powerful kingdoms. The conflict raged 4 years, a brutal tug of. Sometimes Ajatashatru would win, capturing the elderly King Pasenadi, and sometimes Pasenadi would triumph. The war saw battles fought with elephants, cavalry, chariots, and infantry. Finally, in a decisive battle, Ajatashatru was captured. However, seeing that Ajatashatru was his own nephew, King Pasenadi showed mercy. Instead of executing him, he released him and even gave him his own daughter, Princess Vajjika, in marriage, returning the village of Kashi as her dowry. This act finally brought peace between Magadha and Kausala. But Ajatashatru's conflicts were not over. His next major confrontation was with the Vajjika Confederation, a powerful republic of united clans, led by the Lakavis from their capital Vaishali. The root of the conflict was a dispute over a port on the river Ganga. Both Magadha and the Vajjiyans claimed rights to the goods that passed through it. Tabargians, being a large confederacy, would often take all the valuable goods for themselves. After this happened multiple times, Ajatashatru, now a seasoned and ruthless ruler, declared, "I will destroy and annihilate these powerful Vajjiyans." But he knew a direct attack would be foolish. The Vajjiyans were known for their unity and strength. So Ajatashatru resorted to strategy and deceit. He sent his chief minister, a clever Brahmin named Vasakara, to the Buddha. Publicly, Vasakara was to ask the Buddha's advice on whether to attack the Vajjiyans. The Buddha told his attendant Ananda that as long as the Vajjiyans held their full and frequent assemblies, met in concord, honored their traditions, respected their elders, protected their women, and supported their holy men, they could not be defeated. Vajjikara listened intently. While the Buddha's message was a warning against war, the cunning minister twisted it. He understood that the key to defeating the Vajjayans was to destroy the very unity the Buddha praised. Vajjikara then went to Vaishali, pretending to be a fugitive who had been disgraced and exiled by Ajatashatru. Tilikavis, trusting and honorable, welcomed him. Over the next 3 years, Vajjikara masterfully sowed seeds of discord. He used gossip, lies, and manipulation to turn the clans against each other. He set up friends against friends, and families against families, creating suspicion and mistrust where there was once unity. He would praise one chieftain in front of another, then report back false insults. The strong social fabric of the Vajjika Confederacy began to unravel. By the time Vajjikara had finished his work, the chieftains couldn't even stand to be in the same room. No one would attend the state assemblies anymore. Seeing that his mission was complete, Vajjikara sent a secret message to Ajatashatru. When Ajatashatru's wardroom sounded at the gates of Vaishali, not a single Lichavi chieftain came out to fight. They were too busy arguing and accusing each other. Ajatashatru marched into the once mighty city of Vaishali and conquered it without a fight. It was a victory won not by swords, but by whispers. During this long campaign, which lasted for many years, Ajatashatru also fortified his capital Rajagriha and built a new fort, Pataligarh, which would later become the famous city of Pataliputra. He also developed new war engines, like a catapult that could hurl massive stones and a covered chariot with swinging maces, which gave his army a fearsome edge. Despite all his victories and his vast, powerful empire, Ajatashatru found no peace. The guilt of killing his father gnawed at him. He suffered from terrible nightmares and couldn't sleep. The legends say he would cry out in terror, seeing visions of his father's tormented end. Desperate for a cure, he sought out the wisest teachers of his time, but none could soothe his tormented soul. One beautiful moonlit night, his physician Jivaka suggested he visit the Buddha. Ajatashatru was hesitant. After all, he had been an ally of the Buddha's enemy, but his desperation was greater than his pride. He went to the mango grove, where the Buddha was staying with his monks. He was struck by the profound silence and peace that surrounded the assembly. He approached the Buddha and confessed everything: his ambition, his alliance with Devidatta, and the horrific murder of his own father. He asked the Buddha if there was any hope for a man like him. The Buddha, full of compassion, did not condemn him. He acknowledged the gravity of Ajatashatru's sin, but also recognized his sincere repentance. He taught Ajatashatru the Dharma, the path of righteousness, explaining the law of karma and the possibility of redemption through virtuous action. For the first time in years, Ajatashatru felt a glimmer of peace. He became a devoted lay follower of the Buddha, offering his patronage and support to the monastic community. After the Buddha's passing, around 483 BCE, Ajatashatru played a crucial role in preserving his teachings. He sponsored the first Buddhist council, held in a cave at Rathamusala. 500 of the Buddha's most senior disciples gathered to recite and codify his teachings, ensuring they would be passed down to future generations. Ajatashatru provided the monks with food, shelter, and protection, a final act of devotion to the teacher who had saved him from his own inner demons. His reign, which began in blood and treachery, had transformed into one of patronage and piety. Ajatashatru ruled for a total of 32 years, but the cycle of violence he had started was not so easily broken. In the year 461 BCE, the prophecy that haunted his birth came full circle. Just as he had killed his father to seize the throne, his own son, Udaybhadra, assassinated him to become king. It was a tragic, karmic end to a life defined by extremes of brutal ambition and profound regret, of terrible violence and a desperate, final search for peace. Ajatashatru's story serves as a powerful reminder that true conquest is not over kingdoms, but over oneself. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this story fascinating, please like, share, and subscribe for more tales from history. See you next time.